For the first time, the House committee investigating the January 6th attack got to hear from a Trump family member this week. Trump's son-in-law and former senior advisor at the White House, Jared Kushner, spent 6 hours before the committee Thursday voluntarily. On the day of the insurrection, Kushner was actually traveling back from Saudi Arabia, but the committee's hope was that he could provide information about the events leading up to the violence that day. And joining me now to talk about this is a member of the January 6th committee, Democratic Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren of California. Congresswoman, thank you so much for being with us. I know that you're limited in how much you can tell us about Kushner's testimony, but how crucial was it?
Well, as you've noted, we can't go into the testimony unless there's been a vote of the committee to release the information, which has not occurred in this case. But you can imagine if the interview went on all day long, which it did, that there was information exchanged, and we appreciate that Mr. Kushner came in, and we're hoping to hear from his wife, the president's daughter. As you know, we sent her a letter asking, and we hope that she will follow the path taken by Mr. Kushner.
And was Jared Kushner combative? Was he cooperative? I know you can't get into the detail of what he said, but for a session that lasted 6 hours, how would you describe how he was responding to the questions?
He was not combative. He was precise, and he didn't volunteer anything, but he did answer questions if he remembered the answer. So it was not a combative or, volatile exchange at all.
And Congresswoman, the New York Times is reporting that President Biden told his inner circle that he believed the former president was a threat to democracy and should be prosecuted, and that he wanted Attorney General Merrick Garland to act less like a ponderous judge. That ponderous use of the word there is in a quote, and more like a prosecutor taking decisive action. Are you frustrated with the Attorney General? Do you think he's acting too much like a judge and not like an Attorney General or a prosecutor?
Well, all I know is what I read in the New York Times on that. But when it comes to the referrals that the committee has made for prosecution, because the committee is a victim of the crime of contempt, criminal contempt. And we, as the committee and the American people, expect action. And we did express some frustration at our last public business meeting about it just seems that the referrals have dropped into a void, and we think that's problematic. Obviously, under the system of laws that we have here, the Department of Justice doesn't report to the Congress, and they shouldn't. But as victims of the crime of criminal contempt, we're hoping that some action will be taken, and frustrated that has not yet occurred.
And is this process running out of time with the midterms approaching?
Well, I don't assume that the chamber will change the majority. There's a lot of loose talk, but if you go through district by district, I think it's a mistake to assume that. But every committee is established for the length of the Congress. And so our intention is to finish in this year. And I think we have every reason to believe we'll be able to do that.
And among the thousands of pages of documents turned over by Mark Meadows, the former White House chief of staff under Trump, there were these text messages he received from Ginny Thomas, the wife of the Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. And we can show one of them to our viewers. One of the texts says, help the great president stand firm, Mark. You are the leader with him who is standing for America's constitutional governance at the precipice. The majority knows Biden and the left is attempting the greatest heist of our history. Setting to the side the inaccuracies of what is said there in that text, are these texts helpful to the investigation? Do they just shed light on her communications with Mark Meadows?
Well, we don't know. I mean, obviously, they show that she was pretty far down the conspiracy rabbit hole, which is sad to see. But whether or not she played a key role in the plot is certainly not revealed by the texts that have been in the public domain. So we're looking at everything, trying to get the full picture, trying not to be diverted by shiny objects, just get all the facts that are important for understanding the full story.
And we will see public hearings. We will see some of these
Yes.
pertinent witnesses. How soon might that happen?
Well, the chairman has announced publicly that we will have some hearings this spring. He didn't set a date, but I expect we will, in fact, have some hearings this spring, and we may have another set later in the year. There's a lot of material to go over.
All right, Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, thank you so much. We appreciate it.